Yami Yugi is one of the most influential anime characters out there that has inspired so many people to go out and play Yu-Gi-Oh! However, in today's video, we're going to ponder the question on what if Yami Yugi played Cardfight Vanguard. Good afternoon, card fighters, and welcome back to the Prime Vanguard channel. Now, before I can get into today's topic, we have to get through my quick disclaimer. If you enjoy seeing discussion content like this on my channel, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to today's video. Yami Yugi's main deck has changed throughout the years, but his most valuable cards have always been prominent in the series. The Dark Magician, Warrior, and Face cards are some of his most iconic units and are always there when he needs them. These cards showcase his values as a recurring theme in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. The importance of friendship and that for someone to achieve their goals as an individual and grow as a person, they need good people at their side. In the later years, his deck has begun to revolve around his favorite monster, Dark Magician. Playing more spellcaster support that helps him get more monsters on the board while affecting his opponent's monsters at the same time. His warrior monsters have become more recognizable as well, such as his Celtic Guardian cards and Gaia cards as well, being staples to his modern playstyle. One of my personal favorites of the Yami deck are actually his face cards such as Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight, and King's Knight. These cards all have the same ability to where they can call one another as long as they have different names. This only solidifies the fact that he has this playstyle of adding more monsters onto his boards to attack his opponent with, while also affecting his cards, as the face cards now have spells and traps in the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Format where they can affect his opponent's cards if all three of them are currently on the field. Had to get that in there real quick, guys, while discussing this video, but I'll get back to the scene. Now that we have broken down the makeup of his deck and his playstyle, let's go ahead and discuss what clan he would play and who his avatar would be. While looking at clans that would match his playstyle on Yami's darker Paladin theme, the two clans that I was looking at were DarkIrregulars and Shadow Paladin. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at each of these clans and explain which deck and why they would fit his individual playstyle for this video. DarkIrregulars fit Yami's overall theme of using dark-themed monsters such as fiends, mythical creatures, and spellcasters. Cardfight Vampire or King of Mask Dontarrion, in my opinion, would be a good fit for his playstyle. Both of these decks allow you to take advantage of the generic support available to DarkIrregulars, meaning Yami can build his deck with a variety of different strategies so that he may catch his opponent off guard. Cardfight Vampire's darker and edgier look to him with his multiple attack strategy and a synergy with all the DarkIrregulars would make him a great avatar for Yami as it fits his color palette and theme while also having that variety that he loves to have in his deck. King of Mask Dontarrion also has a darker and edgier theme to him as well, but his more human appearance gives him some resemblance to Dark Magician. Dontarrion's variety of skills might be very appealing to Yami as he likes to have a variety of skills available to him at all times. And Dontarrion's 3 skills do the job. Dontarrion can also take advantage of the generic support available to DarkIrregulars, but you would have to go in a more specific direction of retiring units and getting power, or building soul for your big finisher units such as Demon Leader or No Life King. Playing the generic strategy of retiring units and building power to your rear guards is the route I see Yami going based on how his deck is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, between the two, I do believe that Dontarrion would be the more preferable build. His avatar being a more human-like that can resemble Dark Magician, while also having that variety playstyle, even though you do have the direction you have to focus on, and the fact that you have access to so many generic cards from DarkIrregulars, while at the same time you have the variety of skills on Dontarrion itself, would be great for Yami, in my personal opinion. Once I get through the clans, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and showcase the decks for both DarkIrregulars and I'll showcase the deck for Shadow Paladins, who we're going to go ahead and dive into right now. Shadow Paladins was another clan I had mentioned that would be best for Yami, as it fits more into the Knights and Spellcaster theme of his deck. The clan's playstyle has moved in 2 different directions as well, with the superior calling of grade 1s and using them as cost for your skills, or a hard control playstyle and using the grade 1s as your resource management. The best archetype in Shadow Paladin for Yami was obvious, and it had to be Luard. Luard has a dark spellcaster look to him while at the same time having a variety of skills that he can take advantage of due to the superior calling effect that he has. He also has a female counterpart in the form of Drag Wizard Morfessa, which makes him the perfect clone of his Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl package. Shadow Paladin's variety of grade 1s would also benefit him in whatever way he needs, as Luard would grant him access to all of these skills due to superior calling. The retiring units, building up board, and having different variety of skills to affect his opponent with or benefit himself just play more into Yami's overall theme and playstyle from Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that Shadow Paladins would be a great transition for him, with Luard being his main avatar for the deck. Who needs the heart of the cards when you can literally get any card you want to save you at any time from your Vanguard? Now that we've discussed his playstyle, theme, and clans, here's a look at the deck I believe he would play in Cardfight Vanguard the anime. I'm going to go ahead and showcase both of these decks right now. Alright you guys, now here it is. This is the Shadow Paladin deck for Yami Yugi that I decided to build fitting his overall theme. We're going to go ahead and start off with his grade 3s first and work our way down to the triggers. Now for his main grade 3, we obviously have Luard. Luard being our perfect Dark Magician clone for his deck. I think Luard's variety of skills and the fact that he can call grade 1 and does so much as a Vanguard with his evolved form 2 makes him really perfect for Yugi. Don't forget that Yami Yugi does have, well, Dark Magician does have a variety of different forms he can evolve into that are seen throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game as well as the anime. You have the ritual monsters such as Black Magician of Chaos, the old version of Dark Magician, and all the Dark Magician ritual forms that you can take a look at on your own time for Yu-Gi-Oh! That are all these evolved things of Dark Magician that help him do. So having a grade 3 that you can evolve into that gets stronger over time definitely felt right. For the grade 2s, it was pretty simple. The Drag Wizard Morfessa is obviously your Dark Magician girl clone for your Drag Wizard Luard, or Drag Heart Luard for the deck. Morfessa's playstyle of calling out grade 1s helps synergize with Luard 2 for, his playstyle obviously. And the other grade 2s, I would make this very clear before I explain these, because you guys are probably like, why are these in here? Luard's already figured out. Well, I want to make it a deck that would fit Yugi's playstyle. It's not about being meta, it's about fitting Yugi's playstyle and the cards he would want to see in his deck. Drag Wizard Leofall is an obvious choice. Leofall is the supporting spellcaster card for our Dark Magician, grade 3, like our Dragheart Luard. It does so much for him, and it's a card that literally gives him access to any other card he wants. So I can imagine him being like, Heart of the Cards guide me, pulling Leofall, and then being able to get a whole chain of skills going, as Luard can do. The Revenger cards, or Doreen Revenger and Claudius Revenger, remember, these are to show his knight cards that are always a 2 of. There's always Celtic Guards and Noble Arms, or the face cards that support him. And I was gonna put in Crisis Revenger Fritz as the starter, just to get that whole 3 of for the knights. But I felt because the deck revolved around Luard, having the playset of those for them in the deck, as I'll get to the grade 1s, with Knees, Roots, Morfessa, and Luard all in there, I felt that was already a perfect synergy of cards together for the theme of the deck. The grade 1s, all of these grade 1s do a variety of skills that will benefit Yugi in whatever he needs. If he needs to draw cards, you play the Owl. Plus the Owl was kind of like my Karibo clone. I couldn't really find any other cute grade 1 cards I felt he would play in the deck, but I felt Abyssal Owl was the closest thing I'm going to get to a Karibo clone. You've got Sharon, who feeds him more into the spellcaster thing. You've got Nice, who is again part of that ride line for Luard and would benefit him the most. You've got the grade 1, who can be another Dark Magician supporting card. You've got the grade 1 for your grade 2 Knight card, which is your Claudius and Doreen combo. And then I played this grade 1 because a card that actually comes to my mind a lot is Giant Soldier of Stone for Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember watching that in the anime, and there was that whole shenanigan with him attacking the moon so that Mako Tsuname's cards could not work. I always go back and watch that scene, I'm like, they were really doing too much with the anime on that. Just whatever shenanigans they can to get Yugi to win. That was always funny to me. And it's a 1-of in the deck, so it's a card you can pull out if you need some really extra power, which I think is something he would do. And then, like I explained with the starter, it fits into the whole Dark Magician ride line because it fits with the drag theme. Taking a look at his triggers, I felt the triggers make perfect sense. Yami Yugi is not an idiot. He's actually a really good player. Well, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, he's a really good player. And Yugi Moto was raised in a card shop, so he knows the game very well. So I felt basically having access to all the triggers you can have access to in a Force deck would be important for him. You've got this grade 3 here, and I only played this grade 3 because it was kind of like a Summon Skull clone. It's got that big monster appearance to it, so I felt like it would fit Summon Skull as a clone pretty well. Then there's the grade 0. I chose MacLear because it reminded me of Big Shield Gardna. I did not forget about that card, and I felt like that being another one of his most iconic monsters, this had to be in the deck. The other 2 triggers, these can literally be, they were critical triggers. I just chose from the 3, I feel like these would be the most beneficial for the deck. The Death Feather Eagle and the Dark Side Trumpeter to finish off 4 triggers. Now that's it for his Shadow Paladin deck. I'm going to go ahead and showcase the DarkIrregulars deck that I chose for him as well. Here is the Dantarian deck list that I made for Yami Yugi if he was in Cardfight Vanguard. Now I want to go over each card, same thing I did with Shadow Paladins, grade 3s are triggers, so we'll start from the beginning. Here we've got Dantarian as our main grade 3 for the deck, and then a lot of his support cards, while they are human cards, I tried to find darker themed cards that would actually support, the deck in a different way. But I feel like all of these cards would actually do skills that he'd want. Like you have a Abominable One, Giladides, who feeds into calling cards out from the soul. He also retires cards, which synergizes with Dantarian. You've got Number of Terror, who's a defensive unit who draws more cards and puts things in the soul, which would synergize with Dantarian. You've got this card, who is really the only knight-looking card I could find that would actually help the deck as well, as it would give him the toolbox cards he likes to use so that he can obviously do whatever strategy he needs to do at the time. You've got Emblem Master, which feeds into his other strategy of getting more cards for the soul. And it's the closest thing to another knight-looking card. And then his female counterpart for his main Vanguard, which he would always have, like he does with Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, could be either Flirtatious Succubus, this Succubus right here, or Doreen the Thrust. All of these cards have skills that synergize very well with Dantarian, as Flirt can be called out from the soul with their own ability and retire cards. You've got Dark Soul Conductor, who gives him that defensive option that he always likes to have with his deck that synergizes well with Dantarian's skill. Moving on to his grade 1s, you have Succubus of Pure Darkness, who can help him get his deck for Dantarian so he gets to his main grade 3. Ironheart Assassin, and the calling out from soul is important, as Yugi likes to have a lot of monsters on his board so that he always feels protected. And in his Cardfight Vanguard deck, he's definitely going to want cards that he can put back onto his board. So Flirtatious Succubus, Ironheart Assassin, Giladides, as well as the variants grade 3. All of these cards feed into that strategy of getting more cards onto your board that you can power up with Dantarian's ability. You also have Doreen the Thruster, who gets a lot of power when you soul charge, and seeing as how this deck's going to be doing a lot of retiring, Doreen's going to become a very, very big card. Vermilion Gatekeeper, because it's a card that will fit more of the deck's theme as well. And then for his triggers, same thing as I said in the Force deck, he's definitely going to want a variety of cards to play with, so we need heals, draws, and crits. While the other heals definitely didn't really fit the theme so much, I figured we might as well just play the most powerful heal that we can get, as he wants to play the strongest cards that work well with his deck. March Rabbit of Nightmare Land, it's a cool looking monster that will fit the theme of his deck as well. And then his critical triggers are Fiend cards that really fit into that darker and edgier theme of Yami Yugi. I just wanted to showcase to you guys the Dantarian deck. I'm a huge Dantarian fan, I love it myself, which is one of the personal reasons why I might have been a little biased when choosing it for Yami Yugi, but I actually do think that this deck does fit his playstyle. Being able to power up your units on the board, getting more cards onto the board while also affecting your opponent's cards is a trademark of his skills. So therefore, having a deck that can do that while doing essentially everything I just stated would be very good for him. And with that being said, that's going to be the end of today's video, guys. If you guys enjoy video discussions like these, let me know down in the comment section below. I feel like this is a very little fun project to do. I posted a poll in the Vanguardians group chat explaining what decks I think would be best for him. I did add Spectral Duke, but after going back into my head playing it, Gold Paladin has it's too much of a bright theme. I think a darker theme for Yami Yugi versus my Yugi Moto video, which will be coming up very soon, will show you the difference on how I view their decks. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and hop right out of this video, guys. Y'all have a great day, stay safe, and keep playing Vanguard. Peace.